Hoot hoot, it's Harry Potter and the Boys Outpost Edition! Hello everyone, welcome to another Outpost edition of Harry Potter and the Boys. Been meaning to do one of these for a while, but just haven't gotten round to it. But this is also just a little kind of end of year episode, end of year message, I guess you could say, because yeah, I mean, the last episode, of course, was the live show, but I didn't want to sort of end the year without getting to thank people for coming to the live show. And if you've listened to it, I hope you enjoyed it. Man, that was so much fun. And it was so awesome meeting a bunch of you there. It was such a great show. I actually thought it was better than the first one. I think there were more people there than the first one as well. I felt way more confident. Honestly, it was great. And hopefully there's more live pods to go in 2024 because, yeah, we did 2 in 2023 and they were super fun. And I'm so stoked that you guys all made it. I hope you all had a good Christmas. I hope you're all looking forward to a fun New Year's. As far as this podcast goes, I'm not 100% sure what date exactly it will be back in 2024. It definitely will be back in 2024. Sam, who did an amazing job at the live show, by the way, and that was and really carried it. He is currently in Canada. I actually don't know when he's back, so probably mid-Jan or probably late Jan, expect this pod to be back. I'm going to try and do a few update episodes during January, like our posts and just any kind of news updates and bonus sort of things. Maybe even an episode finally on going to the Harry Potter studio tour in London, which I am yet to do. But yeah, it's been an awesome year for this pod and for all of my stuff, really. So if you support this show, my other shows, or any other content that I make, massive thank you. Huge gratitude if you came to the live show. That was genuinely the live shows, one in Feb, one in December that I did sort of this year, have genuinely been some of the best experiences of my life. Like, I never thought I'd be doing a live podcast in my life, and now I've done 2. Awesome to tick that off the list, and yeah, can't wait to do more stuff like that moving forward. But let's get into some owls. It's going to be short, guys, but there have been so many owls that have collated since whenever the last time I did an owl post was, and apologies for the delay on that. Owl comes in from Sam Groen. Hi, Mike. Long time, first time. Every time's a good time. Been getting into the... Sorry, I said that. He didn't say that. I said every time's a good time. Long time, first time. Love this. If you're a long time and a 0 time, write in. We'd love to get a now. Been getting into the Harry Potter and the Boys pod and been binging it over the last few weeks while working. I've just finished listening to chapter 16 of book 2. So still a little behind and had to send an owl with my thoughts before they escaped me. Chapter 16 of Book 2. What chapter was that? Because we were obviously so far. Book 2, Chapter 16, looks like that was Gorby's funeral. Poor Gorby Bolonsky. He's a classic character. I actually wrote a small comic strip style page when I was around 10 of what was essentially Captain Underpants fanfic called The Adventures of Undie Boy. I found them a few years back and died laughing when I noticed a cell with a girl drawn that had massive boobs, then a poorly done eraser job that smudged them, then smaller boobs drawn in place. That's very funny. Love the review episodes of the pod about Fantastic Beasts and Hogwarts Legacy. Haven't gotten to your review of actual gameplay yet, but I really enjoyed that game. That's you haven't gotten to it because I actually never did it. I should try and do that. Funnily enough, with Hogwarts Legacy, at the live show afterwards, I was talking to official correspondent Amy and her boyfriend, and Amy's boyfriend was talking about how he 100%ed Hogwarts Legacy, which is where you get literally everything. You do everything you can possibly do in the game, and on PlayStation, you get a platinum trophy. And I wanted to do that, but it was just so hard. But part of me was thinking over the next few days, because it's a really quiet period, like first week of Jan, part of me was thinking just get Hogwarts Legacy out and 100% it. So I might do that. Sam goes on, it reminded me of a Fable-style gameplay set in a Harry Potter world. Cool. Slightly unrelated, but did you ever read the series of books called Charlie Bone? Very similar vibe to Harry Potter, maybe a touch more childish, but remember them having some great plot twists. I have never heard of Charlie Bone in my life. I'm just going to do a quick Google. Charlie Bones. Okay, yeah, I've never, ever heard of these books, but cool. I might check them out. Probably not. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye, Hamora. Sam. Thank you so much, Sam. Guys, be more like Sam and send in an owl for the next owl post, whenever that may be. And be more like Julia Culver. Thank you, Julia, who has sent in two emails, actually. And I don't believe I've read either of them. So let's read the first one, which was sent at 6:30 a.m. on the 13th of November. Hi, Mike. My name's Julia, and I'm a fairly new listener of Harry Potter and the Boys. I found the book in August when I came across the HPATB videos on Instagram Reels, and I was immediately obsessed with it, so I started listening on Spotify. That's so cool because I guess, like, you always wonder as a creator, I guess, if putting clips and videos of your content on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube actually sort of generates or translates into listenership. And I get a lot of people, particularly with HPATB, saying that they saw the clips online and that got them listening to the pod, which is awesome. I've just finished listening to book 2 and looking forward to listening to the rest and starting book 3. Awesome. Love that. I often listen to the pod during my lunch hour or on my way home from work, and it always makes my day so much better. The other day, I was in the cafeteria at work and listening to HPATB on my headphones while eating my lunch, and I couldn't stop laughing to myself. So I'm sure the other people there thought I was an absolute lunatic, lol. I do, again, that feedback to me, it's crazy to me as a creator that people during the day, like right now when I'm recording this, someone could be listening to the pod and laughing, and I love that. It is crazy to me that this stupid fanfic I wrote when I was a kid, people actually listened to and love. Like, it still blows my mind, honestly. The other day, oh yeah, I already read that, blah, blah, blah. I believe it was the episode where the dragon who killed Gorby Bolonsky then she goes, really not sure of that spelling, haha. And you've spelt Gorby Bolonsky 100% correct. So let's continue. I believe it was the episode where the dragon who killed Gorby Bolonsky, Harry, and Dildo Dilderoni arrived in the Ford Anglia to save the boys in the Chamber of Secrets. I was almost crying laughing over my sandwich. I love the pod so much. We love you, Julia. It brings me so much joy, and you and Sam make me laugh every time I listen. I love that. In some ways, the fanfiction reminds me a lot of a Harry Potter game I created with my friend when we were about 11 or 12, where we would get together with our dolls and pretend that they were Harry Potter's triplet sisters, and therefore, of course, superior to him. We created this whole scenario where her character, who my friend also called Lily, was adopted by McGonagall, and my character was adopted by Snape. Don't ask why, I have no idea. And they're all separated at birth. Our characters were constantly doing weird magic and switching brains with each other so we could really know what it's like being the other character. This is so random, Julia. And time traveling to fix plot holes and things like that. Also, at some point, she wanted her character to be dating one of the Weasley twins, and I decided that I would allow that, but only if I got to have a happy ending and she didn't. So she dated Fred. Okay, I was going down the other meaning of happy ending, which we won't get into, but you're saying she dated Fred because Fred died. Yeah. So she didn't have a happy ending. I thought you meant have a happy ending as in like a dodgy massage. Anyway, I'm convinced we were insane. Reminds me very much of Harry Potter and the Boys. Looking forward to book 3. Diddle-dee-dee from Alaska, Julia. And it's another thing, 2 things on that. First of all, the fact that like Diddle-dee-dee, which I think was like a one-off gag from book 1 of the fanfic, so many of you sign off your emails with Diddle-dee-dee, which I think Mr. Charger signed off with it in a letter that he was in an email or something like that. And now I do think Diddle-dee-dee should be the official email sign off of the show. And that's awesome. So please do that. And also Alaska, someone all the way in Alaska is listening to this podcast that I do here in Melbourne. That is crazy. Shout out to Alaska. It's where the Simpsons go to live in the Simpsons movie. Amazing place in the world. I'd love to go there one day. Finally, P.S. I thought that Locky was spelled Locky, L-O-C-K-Y, until you mentioned the spelling one time. And so I also thought he was related to Gilderoy Lockhart if his name was Locky Lockhart. Okay. Julia sends a follow-up on the 12th of December, my birthday, which is also official correspondent Amy's birthday. We're not only podcast buddies, but birthday buddies. Okay. Hi, Mike. Happy birthday. I finally caught up all of Book 3 and listened to today's episode on my lunch break. Loving Book 3 so far. In some ways, it's my favourite season so far. I feel like you and Sam have really found a groove with the chit-chat, and the book continues to be as absurd and funny as ever. I like that Kazkaban is in Kazakhstan because I've been there on a uni study abroad trip for 4 months. I like the thought that I could have run into Kim Jiri and Mr. Charger. That's great. I especially love Paul the local murderer and Deathbird and Reapers. Also, you and Sam really blew past that whole BDSM thing going on with Charger and Kim Jiri in the woods. That was something else. I kind of forgot about that. Also, you probably don't remember, but in episode 4, you and Sam were trying to remember the name of a canon Harry Potter character whose last name is Jones. Maybe someone mentioned this already, but there's Gwenog Jones, the captain of the Holyhead Harpies, the all-women's Quidditch team Ginny plays for after Hogwarts. Slughorn mentions her as a former member of the Slug Club. Great work. Also, just wanted to mention that we did also have that game where if you look at the circle, you get punched when I was a kid. So it's also a thing in Alaska, or it was circa 2010. Well, that game, I thought that was just an Aussie game, but clearly it's transcended the world. And yes, I never heard of the name Lachlan before listening to the pod, as I thought you were saying Lockie for the first several weeks listening. P.S. I don't know if you're still doing this, but am I a hat person? She's posted a picture with a hat. We'll do that on an official pod that when it comes out. P.P.S. Harry Potter and the Boys made it into my Spotify Wrapped. Looking forward to the next episode and wishing I could skip work and fly to Australia for the live show. Julia. Amazing work. Julia's a top 4% fan of Harry Potter and the Boys. So awesome hearing from you, Julia. Thank you so much for writing in. Okay. Couple other owls have come in over the last little while. This one comes in from James Cameron Green. The subject line is, I love your podcast. Well, that's good. Radio Mike, I love your Harry Potter and the Boys podcast. I've only been listening for 3 weeks and I've almost finished book 1. It never ceases to make me crack up, especially when you go so far off track that it sounds like a different podcast entirely. My favourite podcast by far. Harry Potter and the Boys will probably be in my top 3 of my faves forever. It has inspired me to write a Harry Potter fanfiction, Harry Potter and the Lack of Rhyme and Reason. I promise I haven't stolen your ideas, just tweaked a couple of them so they cannot be traced back. I want to own a PDF of Harry Potter and the Boys. I would ask to buy it in book form, but any publisher you would go to would be like, what the fuck? I'm guessing I won't be allowed a PDF copy of Harry Potter and the Boys, but it was worth a shot. Yours quite unprofessionally, James. P.S. Can I have a copy of Harry Potter and the Boys? P.P.S. I'm getting a copy of Harry Potter and the Boys. P.P.P.S. You will give me a copy of... And it goes on. If you give me a copy, I'll support you on Patreon. PPPSSP. I'll never get a coffee. Blah, blah, blah. From, James Diddle-dee-dee. Thank you so much for writing in, James. Don't know about PDF copies, but I definitely do want to do like a proper audiobook version of the pod. So, yeah, I will hopefully do something like that soon. Al comes in from regular listener Oren. Over on Instagram, Oren says, as someone who was born and raised in California, embarrassed as always to be an American, I thought you were saying a name that sounds much like Lock-E. The idea of Lucky never crossed my mind, though I do know a cat named Lucky. I might have had some great-great-uncle or the like named Lachlan, but here it feels like a name from 150 years ago. As I hear you say Lachlan, it sounds like it should be spelled Lachlan, L-O-C-H-L-E-N. So crazy that Lachlan in America thing, and it does feel like we have complete confirmation that the Americans don't have that name. I realised Sam Groen also sent an Instagram in, He says, I've just gotten onto your pods and been binging HPATB while working, and you're so lucky I haven't been sending bulk emojis for you to not understand what they mean. Couple things that I thought were worthy of messaging for while I heard them, though. As a former New Zealander living in Australia, our Woolworths is called Countdown, but we have the same logo. Make that make sense. And when you were talking about 5-cent coins being useless, New Zealand did just get rid of them one day, redesigned all the coins to not be too big to practically fit in a wallet, and fucked off the 5-cent coin. Best thing we ever did. Also big fan of the chit-chat on the fanfic. Now, all of that stuff that you just mentioned in that message, like, this is the thing about this podcast. I have no memory of ever talking about any of that stuff, which just shows that me and Sam just go on the craziest tangents, because I do not remember ever talking about Woolworths or a 5-cent coin. I'm sure we did, but I don't remember. He then goes on, just started chapter 1 of book 3 and you finished book 2 talking about 400 meters being a quarter mile, and then started book 3 with the same conversation. I actually ran track in America and they still called the events 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, and 1600 meters over there. Like us not knowing inches outside of Subway sandwiches, they only knew meters in track races. So that's funny that I definitely don't put it past us, again, like I said, to completely forget what we've talked about and then just have the exact same conversation again. But yeah, thank you so much, Sam. Okay, one more thing. Because power listener Bella, we love Bella, who was at the live show, flew down from Queensland, from the Sunshine Coast. Is the Sunshine Coast in Queensland? Why do I not know where things are in my own country? Sunshine Coast is it's in southern Queensland. Cool. Bella wrote a review of the live show, and I gotta say a massive thanks to Bella, who did also make a Derek is a disgrace to all wizards t-shirt that she wore. She custom embroidered it, which is amazing. I might just read a little bit of her review on her own, her Substack, which is bellacan'tshutupabout.substack.com. And here's her review of the show. What do you get when you combine a piano so talented that Simon Cowell signed it, Santa Claus's ex-lover, and Harry Potter playing strip poker? No, it's not a fever dream. It's just a regular chapter of Harry Potter and the Boys. The venue, she goes on to describe what the podcast kind of is about, but you guys all know that, so I'll continue about the live show. The venue is full with fans eagerly awaiting what shambolic situations will occur in this chapter. Also, there are a few non-fans dragged there by friends who have no idea what glorious chaos they are about to hear. Rounding off the duo with Mike is comedian and Harry Potter and the Boys regular Sam Garlep. Mike and Sam's easy chemistry is a real highlight of the podcast for me. They're hilarious, if sometimes chaotic chit-chat at the top of each episode of the podcast, and throughout the reading of the chapter is always a delight. The tendency towards tangents and seemingly barely related pop culture references perfectly scratches an itch in my brain that works the exact same way. After the perfect amount of crowd interaction, a fun quiz, if you want to thank God you're here tote bag, hit me up, and the ever funny Harry Potter bands and songs segments, it's time for the main event, the reading of Chapter 30. Of course, no live show would be complete without a special guest, and the hype did not disappoint because it was none other than Piano Jones. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a photo with Mr. Jones after the show. Apparently, he had an urgent meeting with Simon Cowell to attend to, but it was so great to hear some of his thoughts on the Australian political landscape and world conflicts. I want to keep this review mostly free from specific spoilers, but I can confirm that this chapter doesn't disappoint. Not only does Santa make a perfectly timed cameo, but there's something for everyone. By something for everyone, I mean that the chapter included a sock puppet, stripper-based clothes, Aslan from the Narnia series, inappropriate student-teacher dynamics, and enough spelling errors to destroy anyone who's literate. Thank you so much, Bella. Super appreciated. I want to leave with one more thing. As I was talking to Amy at the live show, she had a couple things to say. She had a theory on where she thinks the book is going. So let's play what Amy thinks might be happening in the book here.
Okay, so we're going to find out that Lockie and Gemini, obviously twins. Their father was the evil guy, the hairy man, Vladek. Yeah. Their mum was Talia. Blade was babysitting the day everything went down. For some reason, he only ended up with Lockie. Don't know what happened with Gemini, why Gemini went wherever he went. Also, Jordan Borden is going to be alive, and he's going to be the evil guy, and it's going to turn out Vladek was good all along, because Vladek is obviously Sirius Black, and Jordan Borden is Peter Pettigrew.
Okay.
So it's going to be like a faked his own death and framed the other guy. And then...
But how would Jordan Borden come back?
Right, exactly, okay.
So
Because...
Yeah,
So the question was, how will Jordan Borden come back? Well, what happens in the real book? As Scabbers is all along in the movie, in the book, and Scabbers turns out to be Peter Pettigrew. What are the characters that are going throughout the book? Because there are no animals. It's like, is it Piano Joe?
So you think...
Or Socky Potter, but that's like, I don't think so. So, yeah.
So you think Piano Jones could be Jordan Borden in disguise?
Yeah, he's like a Piano Morgus or something, like an animagus.
What about Paul, the local murderer? Do you remember Paul? Do you think he comes
I
back?
think he's a red herring.
Okay. What do you think?
I have no idea.
All right, cool.
There you go, guys. Make of that what you will. I'm gonna go. Have a happy new year. We'll see you very soon. Send in some owls wherever you'd like to send your owls. You know, radiomikepod@gmail.com, Instagram, HPATB pod Instagram, wherever you want to send it. Just get a message to me somehow. But yeah, we will see you in the new year. I hope you enjoyed this closing message. See you later.